Starting. Right, we should be live now. So let me just
Cool.
message her. See if she can see us.
I think there's like a bit of a delay.
Yeah, we're live. I can see it. It says live.
Oh, yeah, in the corner. Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good.
I'm just going to make sure she can see it on YouTube.
Okay. Hey, Alvin.
Yeah.
Have you seen that cartoon, Pickle and Peanut?
Pickle and peanut.
Yeah.
Nah, never heard of it. What's it on?
No, it's not. It's not good, man. It's not good. I swear it's like an acid trip type of cartoon. Like I don't.
Is it? I like that kind of stuff though.
Yeah, the boy. And I don't let him. It scares. Like I saw adverts for it. It scares me.
But more tricky than Adventure Time.
Say again?
Oh my god, this looks mad. I just typed it in now. It looks insane.
Yeah, like it's not good, man. But you know what? I'll tell you one thing I do find funny. Like, you know what my boy loves watching?
What?
He loves watching Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls. Yeah.
He loves it. Loves it. Like,
Does he?
I don't think he understands what's even going on.
Oh,
But like, it'll come,
definitely
leave it on this. I'll be like, okay, I like watching it. That's good.
Yo, this pickle and peanut thing looks weird as hell, man.
But we're live. Jay?
We're live on Google Plus, not on YouTube though. She's just sent a picture of us. So I think something's happening here. Yeah.
So we good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay,
Let's
okay,
go
let's
for
do
it.
this.
She said there's no sound at the moment, but I reckon that's probably just a delay. So
Yeah.
we'll probably.
Well, it might be her.
Yeah, it might just be a time delay on her side, to be honest. So I don't know. We'll improvise. We'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Well, how's everybody doing? All right.
Good, man. Good.
Everybody's all good. Just
Good,
happy,
good.
happy to.
Sorry, go on, Richard.
Yeah, no, happy to be doing this. I've got Ultimate Spider-Man on in the background playing on Cartoon Network. So if I keep, it's just me just catching any scenes that I might miss. In fact, it's not Ultimate Spider-Man. It's Avengers.
Oh, is it? What, Avengers Assemble?
Yeah, Avengers Assemble. Yeah.
I don't like the animation on that, man.
Which one? Hold on. Is it Avengers? Nah, it's not Avengers Assemble. It's the other one that came
Hero
after
Squad.
Avengers Assemble. No, not Hero Squad. Nah, hey, listen. That's just, you know, I kind of some stupid the full Marvel stuff, man. I'm like, what?
Those
Yeah,
toys
the Marvel animation game is really not strong at the moment, is it?
No, it's so weak.
Yeah, it's really not strong. But oh well, we have to take what we can get right now, innit? Okay, so we're live. If you're watching us, hello. This is our first attempt at a podcast. As you can see, it's not perfect, but you know we're working to the best we can do. So bear with us. If you're watching live, hello. I suppose I should introduce myself. My name's Jason, and I've been working on this project, this Wheelon Tools project, for about a year. With me, I have two people who've really have, it's kind of their brainchild as well, really. So I'll let them introduce themselves as well and to tell you what they do. But for today's podcast, we wanted to just have a kind of informal chat about anime and manga and the things we like. This is based on a conversation we all had in work. And it's kind of born of our love for that and for the culture and all the things that go along with it. So let's start with the main geek, Alvin. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Alright, everyone, my name's Alvin, the Mank Geek even, aka Big A. Yeah, man, I just love consuming kind of all nerd stuff, comic books, movies, a bit of manga and anime and all that. And yeah, just happy to be here and chat with you guys, nonsense about various geek things, man. I think it's going to be sick.
Mhm. Mhm. Good stuff. Thank you, mate. Richard, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm the last one, so it kind of worked that way. Yeah, Richard, Rich Kid, aka Rich Reviews. What do I like? I like anything geeky. I'll tell you what I do like. I'm probably baiting myself up now, right? But I like spending money in statues, right? And like rest of the family go to see. It's kind of like what women do with shoes. But yeah, I like comic books, love martial arts films, practice martial arts, and collecting comic books every week as well. Love anime. Yeah, I'm pretty much a all-round 100% geek,
Mm.
or nerd, or blurred. So yeah, that's me.
All right, and I take it those shoes comments were directed at a specific person, were they?
Pardon, sorry?
I take it those shoes comments weren't directed at a specific person, were they?
Oh no, no, not at all. I'm single and ready to mingle. I'm waiting for those suicide girls to start commenting on our posts.
Yoga.
Well, good luck with that one. Okay. Well, let's start off really. The so today we were well, no, it wasn't today. It was yesterday, right? We were talking about anime, and we kind of got into a conversation about the anime that we like and the kind of things that we don't like. So I guess what we're going to do here is just supplement that conversation and have it for people who haven't seen it or weren't privy to it when we were having it. So we'll start off with a couple of questions that hopefully will give those who are watching this a sense of like the kind of things that we like and what we do. So first question would be, what would be your favorite all-time anime and why? And for those who don't know, I mean, if you're watching this and you don't know what anime is, then you might have to do a bit of homework. But for those that don't know, anime is Japanese animation and things like that. So, who wants to start?
Yeah, I'll start in it. So, I mean, for me, it's got to be a toss-up between. It's gonna have to be a toss-up between Ghost in the Shell, so the original movie, and Akira, just because those are just two that kind of blew me away, and like I just didn't expect what I ended up getting. I didn't expect either of those to be that deep, especially Akira. I thought Akira was going to be like 90 minutes, like a standard anime affair, and a standard anime movie affair, but then it turned out to be like 2 hours, man, and I was just like in awe at how deep it was and all the different stuff going on and all that. So it'll be a toss-up between those two.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Akira is going to be top of a lot of people's lists. I
Yeah.
mean, it's on there for me as well because it just when I originally watched it, I mean, I must have been like 11 or 12, and it was dealing with like so many big themes and big ideas about Japan and about Japan's kind of place in the world,
Yeah.
how it dealt with its own identity, and then with the very idea of a person's self and
Yeah. Then, but you've also got
self-identity and all of those things, but then you add on all the kind of sci-fi elements on top
yeah,
of that.
like
And
the politics and government and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, and then you add in the politics as well, and it was just, it was just amazing. It really was. So yeah, definitely Akira would be one that would probably get to the top of my list as well. Um, Another one for me, and you lot are going to laugh at this, but I don't care because I love it, is The Professional, Go 13.
See, that's still
Um,
one that I've not seen.
that it's The Professional is like very dated when you watch it now.
Mm.
Like, it's really dated. Not in terms of the animation. The animation's still actually beautiful. It's dated in terms of the character representations and the stereotypes, and there's a few things in there that are a bit like yeah. But it was it's such a nostalgia kick for me every time I watch it because that was one of the films that I watched on VHS when we had big like VHS explosion You guys will remember this in the early 90s when we were at school. And there were a few. There's probably, I mean, this is probably very familiar to you, but I'll tell it from my point of view. There were a few kind of VHS tapes that were doing the rounds, as in like they were all being kind of lent out to different people within class and things like that. And there was this one kid in class who was, you know, a bit of a spoiled brat, and his parents bought him anything they wanted whenever they wanted. And he had like literally maybe 30 or 40 tapes of different types of anime, all different kinds of things, and all of them were really just just absolutely amazing. But I'm sure this boy never saw his tapes for like a year, because as soon as one person had finished with it, they just passed it on to somebody else.
Jeez.
But but Golgo 13 was one of those tapes that was kind of passed around to everybody. And when I got it and got home and watched it, I'd never kind of seen anything like, you know, like that before. This kind of very, very exotic spy thriller in the mold of kind of James Bond, but from a uniquely kind of Japanese perspective. And it dealt with a lot of those, and had like ridiculous over the top ultra violence as well. It had bad guys in it that were, you know, just cuckoo, like Snake, who was just like a sociopathic rapist who could shoot your eyes out with like needles in his fingers. And who were the other ones? Gold and Silver, the two deranged twins who were just seemingly unstoppable. And stuff like that just kind of really impacted on me. And as I said, if you watch it now, it's badly dated, but it's always kind of got a place in my heart, you know, because of that, really.
Yeah.
So those would probably be my two.
On the dated thing, just anime doesn't have that grittiness that it used to have. Like, and I mean the grittiness in terms of like, because everything's just HD now. Everything just looks clean and digital. You know what I mean? But like, you watch any old stuff, there's just something about it not being done in kind of like the current modern method that kind of makes it gritty to me when I see it. Like, whether it be sci-fi or whatever, it just looks, older anime just looks grittier, man, because of the techniques used.
Yeah, I guess you've got a point there. I would, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but as far as I'm aware, most of the ones from that era, I think, were hand-drawn still, for the most part. They did employ some computer animation and things like that to it, but for the most part, they were still hand-drawn. So you did get that kind of rough around the edges look to a lot of the anime from that era, and definitely that adds a layer to, you know, the overall experience of watching, especially with things like Akira and Golgo 13 and Vampire Hunter D was another one, and you know, Ninja Scroll and all of that. So it definitely kind of added to that. Rich, what were your kind of, from the early days, what were your early memories of anime? And do you have any kind of like top ones that make it to the top of the list for you?
Yeah, sure. I've had to take myself off camera because
That's okay.
because for some reason like the speaker wasn't really happening. So I'm using my phone to stream it, or to talk to you guys.
No worries, man. We improvise with the 18.
Okay, listen, man. I'm gonna take it back old school with my choices. Like, you know what? I do love Akira. I love Akira. I mean, like, but it's one of those things where, like I said, you know, it's got that whole social mouthpiece for Japan back in the day and things like that. And then you've got the animation. Then you've got, like, you know, the whole sci-fi aspect. But and what makes a person and you know and whatnot. But it's actually one of those films that I just can't. You know, there's certain films you can just pop in Blu-ray, because we don't do DVD anymore, because DVD looks fuzzy like a VHS. We do Blu-ray. I just can't pop it in and just watch it just like that. I have to be in a particular mood to watch Akira, which I suppose does lend to its, you know, to its longevity for the film, because, like, you know, it is a good film. It's not like, you know, The Godfather. You just can't watch The Godfather every week. Like, you have to be in that particular mood to really want something, you know, tangible that's really going to make you stay engaged. But anyway, that's not even part of the list. I'm just adding to what you guys might have said. Um, like I said, I'm going to take it back old school. I'm going to take it back to Gatchaman.
Oh,
Battle of
for
the
real?
Planet,
Wow.
G-Force. Yeah? I'm talking like 1980 something. Now, that might be a clue as to how old some of us may be, but we don't look it because black doesn't crack. Um, but I'm talking like, I'm sure you guys remember, it was like BBC One. I think I remember like some of my earliest memories are like being in a playground, having arguments of, like with friends, like who's going to be Mark or who's going to be Jason. Because there was no way I was going to be Princess. There's no way I was going to be like, the big Tiny, I think his name was, and there's no way I was going to be K-Op. Um, but like I just remember that just being like super violent, never having seen anything like that before. I think this is before Transformers, before He-Man, before like the West got its hands on on things that be like, where they could say like, hey, let's make a cartoon and then like make toys of it as well, and then just try and corrupt kids' brains, like Jason, like my friend, Michael, and you know which Michael I'm talking about, who saw Lethal Weapon when he was young. And they made us pretend that we were like doing cocaine busts. We were like 7. But yeah, but Gatchaman, like I mean, like Battle of the Planets, it just had that whole thing of everybody had their own personality. So like I think it was like Jason was like super violent, always angry. Mark was like the leader. The big guy was like the comic relief, and then the special kid was like the special kid. Then you had the girl who was like the token female. But at that point, you're young, and so like all these stereotypes, they just seem to work because they all seem to work as like that little family unit, and they all had their moment to shine. And plus, I'd never seen animation like that before, like never. I think around that period, what was on TV? Danger Mouse, Mr. Men. But really, not say that it was bad animation, but compared to like what was coming out from there, where you had like explosions and and they still use like the things where they had like hand drawn animation where they just reused certain scenes anyway. But you're young, you don't notice that. But it was definitely mind blowing, and I always remember like seeing that. And then as time went on, like I'd once in a while see a cartoon or an animation, and like I'd be like, hey, that reminds me of that came from there. But I never knew it was from Japan. I never knew I never knew it was anime. I just knew that I liked it. So yeah, so I'm gonna go with Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets, or G-Force, or Eagle Force, or Eagle Riders. I'm telling you, like that franchise has gone through so many bloody court cases, but it's one of those things where no matter what version comes out, I always watch it. So yeah, that's my choice, man.
Good choice, man. Good choice. Damn, he took it back with G-Force, because I definitely remember G-Force, and I used to love G-Force as well. And it's interesting because when G-Force kind of hit and kind of came out for us in the UK and for us to watch and things like that, it's funny, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but there was a slight shift in the way American animation was done, in the sense that you started to see that a lot of these companies, new cartoons and so on, were employing a lot more people from, not necessarily from Japan, but like they employed a lot of Koreans, I think. To touch up like the work that they were doing on their animations. Examples of that would be like Thundercats.
Yeah, Mask.
Thundercats was one that was touched up. Mask was.
I said G.I. Joe. They touched G.I. Joe as well.
I don't know with G.I. Joe. They may well have done. I don't know. Transformers was definitely one.
Let me retract that statement. We're not touching up on anybody. They weren't touching up. I meant the cartoon. Okay, all right.
Yeah, just we need to just clarify that just in case. But Transformers was one as well. And the names escape me at the moment. Oh yeah, and then you had things like Galaxy Rangers come out. You had
Silverhawks. Silverhawks is definitely one.
Yep, Silverhawks was another one, and they all kind of bore that same kind of rough around the edges kind of finish to the artwork. That same kind of appeal and that same kind of style. So it's interesting. It shows how kind of influential G-Force and all the things that came after it out of Japan was on animation in general, and how people kind of changed it. Because as you pointed out, it's before then you were talking about kind of like Danger Mouse and things like that, which as you say, not to say they were bad or anything like that, but it's just that they weren't approaching their animation in that way.
Yeah.
So clearly that shift comes about after the Japanese influence, really takes hold with it. So yeah, it's interesting to see that shift.
But in saying that, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you another early memory that I do remember. I actually saw this cartoon years after G-Force Battle of the Planets. But I remember like just seeing pictures. Like my friend was. I remember one of my best friends. His name was Robert Dennis. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook because that's the wonders of Facebook. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. But it was along that like he was Portuguese, and France, Portugal. They always got those things. They always had like I don't know if you remember a cartoon called Sport Billy. You guys remember a cartoon called Sport Billy?
No, I don't think I've heard of that.
It was basically about this secret agent guy who fought against it, like like some spectre or something like that. But he had this bag, and this bag had any, if he made it him, he'd open a bag up and he'd take a tennis racket out and he'd hit the grenade back. You guys don't remember that? Yeah. Anyway, Google it. You guys Google it. Like the animation wasn't amazing. But I remember seeing, that's another time that I remember seeing like different types of animation. But I remember my friend coming back from Portugal, and he had a little comic book or magazine or bag or T-shirt or something, and it had Astro Boy. I remember that. I remember like seeing that, especially around the time of like G-Force, and looking at the animation and looking at the drawing and not seeing the animation, but kind of like, wow, like that's different. Like that was special, and especially because even though like Astro Boy was white, like he still had certain features where it was like, well, he could be anybody really. Like he had the spiky hair but wasn't spiky. He could have been anything. But yeah. So as you're saying, so no, sorry, Jason, I interrupted you, but carry on.
No, not at all. But yeah, it was just about kind of I was talking about sort of the correlation and the influence that Japan seems to have had on animation during that period that then came out from America and from Britain and elsewhere. So kind of expanding upon that, is there anything modern, and I use the term loosely here because I have to preface this by saying that a lot of the anime that I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years really doesn't hold much weight for me at all. But is there anything modern in the last you've seen that comes anywhere close to that kind of impact in terms of the emotional impact that it has on you when you watch it and things like that?
In the last how long?
In the last sort of 2 or 3 years. I know,
2 or 3 years.
Richard, there's a specific one that that we both, a specific two that we both really, really like, but that's probably, we're talking about what? Well, we may as well say what it is. It's Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. But that's like, we're talking maybe, how many years is that now? Like 15 years almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 99 it came out, I think.
Yeah, since it originally came out. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, tell a lie.
So
I think Bebop came out 98, and we got it 99 or 2000.
That sound about right.
Yeah. About that, because we got it a couple of years later. If you didn't have Cartoon Network or anything like that, But if you're talking about the last,
we'll get to Watanabe.
If you're talking about the last
Watanabe
3 years,
needs its own section.
Listen, Watanabe he's gonna get like a whole weekend if he's lucky. And once again, I'm not even saying that in a dirty way. If you're talking like in the last 3 years, I mean, anime, anything that's really, really caught my eye, it made me go like, oh wow, that's alright. I would have to say, Avatar. Avatar's caught me. And it's one of those things because I still haven't, because there's so many seasons and I haven't had the chance or the time to really, really sit down and invest in it. but like sometimes like you might see a couple of episodes here and there. Number one, the animation is amazing for a kids TV show. Like that just feels like a half-hour slot. They've put the money and the time and the hard work. They've really pulled the stops in that. And the story, I like the story, and it goes back to the to animation that we used to see as a kid, that I think has been missing from animation in general for the longest time, where the main characters are flawed. Not say that we like people that can't get the job done, but you're gonna watch a cartoon and you're gonna see this person evolve, and let's say like over 3 or 4 seasons, that's 4 years, and this person's gonna make mistakes and get better, and that's the thing that I do like about Avatar. And when I say Avatar, I mean the Legend of Korra. So I knew what Avatar, the original Avatar, was about. And when I just managed to flick on the Legend of Korra one time, and basically it was a continuation of that, and it takes place years later, and you've got this main character who's taken over from the main character from the last show, and she's just been told that she can't do this, and it's just her following that hero's journey, and I found that really interesting. I found it really interesting. So I think that's the last thing that caught my eye and really stirred some feels up in me. But I need to sit down and really invest in it.
Rich, you brought up an interesting point that I'm not even sure if you realize you brought up, but some people would not consider that show anime.
That's
American produced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like some people will be like, "That's not. It has to be from Japan to be anime."
Yeah.
But
yeah.
For me, it's a stylistic thing. If it's got the style and it does like the conventions, then to me it's anime. It may not be Japanese, but it's got the style, so it's anime.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know. Have any of you guys seen Avatar or The Legend of Korra?
I've tried to watch Avatar a few times, but I've just not. I've seen the first episode or the first few episodes about 2 or 3 times, but I've just not gotten beyond that point. You know what I mean? And the show looked great. I remember first seeing it on Sky on like Nickelodeon one time.
Yeah.
In about 2008, the original series. And yeah, it looked good, but I just didn't have the time to watch it and all that kind of business. It's one of those things that I'd love to just get like the entire box set and just plow through it all and get into it and see what it's all about and all that. But yeah, I heard Korra was good, man. I only heard positive things about it.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you another cartoon that really caught my eye. It's not anime, but because I know the people behind it, you can see the influences that they've taken from from the East and stuff. Ben 10. I loved Ben 10.
Really?
Listen, no. I know you're gonna say.
I can't. I like the theme tune. The theme tune's badass. But I can't, man. It's just like that's too toy manufacturing to me.
It is. It generally is. But you know what? Like when you're thinking of like first season. I remember watching first season, and for some reason the boy loved it. Like he was like, oh yeah, hey, he's a little boy, then he could change to other monsters.
Wait, don't tell me you've seen all seasons.
No, the thing is, I haven't seen all seasons. I've seen a large amount of the seasons from 1 to but I haven't seen all seasons. But that's another thing that I liked about Ben 10 is like with each season he grew up. So as the seasons went on, the seasons actually got really, really darker.
But
so
they did that out of sync though.
Did they do it out of sync?
Yeah, because one time he was at the beginning he was like 10, then they went to like when he was like 15. And then I think they went back to around when he was like, I don't know, 13 or something like that. So they jumped between, and then they changed art styles as well. For someone who doesn't watch Ben 10, I know quite a bit about it for some reason.
I bet you don't watch it. You know more than me. You're sneaking, waking up in the middle of the night, going to watch Ben 10. I know you.
I've seen a bit of the TV movies as well, innit?
See, no, I haven't messed with those, man. I don't like bad special effects. You keep that to Sci-Fi Channel.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad as well. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that they did Ben 10 out of sync, but so I just generally thought that with each season he got older and older, and I like that because like I just found it interesting. It's the type of thing where they were to me it seemed like they were fully invested in this cartoon, and they were hoping that it was going to keep keep the viewers engaged. So obviously, like as the viewer gets older, the character gets older as well. I found that really, really fun. I found it like a bit of a no-brainer, to tell you the truth. I'm surprised it hasn't really been done before, as opposed to like some let's say TV shows where from season to season all they do is just get a brand new haircut.
All stay the same age.
Yeah, all the
Like the
yeah, the
Simpsons have
same
been the
age.
same age for like 27 years or whatever.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like what? What the hell? But yeah, you're right,
Which,
man.
which I find funny because in the Simpsons, the thing is, everything they seem to like pick and choose when they want to use real time. So you get people dying of like old age or of diseases or of things like that. But then it seems like the main characters are just in that time bubble, and nothing really seems to affect them, which I find very very funny because like, I mean, for the longest time I remember watching The Simpsons, and as you get older, like some of the stories behind it were quite well, as you know, they're quite adult themed. So you've got like people coming out of the closet. You've got family members dying. I mean, like all that episode where what's the dog's name? When the dog dies, I think it's called Sweet Christmas or something like that. The dog dies, and they have to get a replacement. So I mean, it's not a kids' cartoon, man. But yeah, that's just my opinion on that anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, to bring it back to Japan, because we kind of got sidetracked by America there. But no, that's interesting
USA, USA.
because I think I must have watched one episode of Ben 10 and I was like, nah, I'm alright. I like cartoons, but you're pushing it a bit. But for me, for animes in the last sort of 2-3 years, and these aren't necessarily animes that came out in the last 2 or 3 years, but ones that I just kind of discovered thanks to Netflix, is probably the two that I've really, really enjoyed have been Attack on Titan.
I knew you were gonna say. I knew someone was going to say that at some point, man.
Yeah, Attack on Titan's been really, really good. And one that you recommended, Richard, which is Psycho-Pass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Psycho Pass is serious.
Dominator. Got the Dominators, man. Sick.
Yeah. Oh man, you just reminded me. I was actually looking for. There was a statue that was released of that a couple of years ago, and I never
The
picked it
electric
up.
one
I
that
need to
lights
look
up
for
and
that.
all that and has the sounds.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Listen. I'll work
So we
extra time for that.
But for me, those two were probably like the ones that really have stood out for me over the past couple of years. Attack on Titan was I think it was you actually, Alvin, that recommended Attack on Titan.
Was it?
to me.
You know who recommended it to me? Stina.
No, who's that?
Stina from
Oh,
the
really?
receptionist
Stina?
from work. Yeah,
Okay.
she used to watch it, and then she mentioned it to me a few times, and I thought, oh, well, I stupidly thought because she's so sweet and nice, it'll be something quite
She couldn't
girly.
possibly do that kind of thing.
And then
yeah.
when I watched it, I watched the first 5 episodes, and I wasn't like super impressed or anything. I thought it looked alright, but I loved the intro. But I was like, the show doesn't match the intro though. But then I think it's episode 6 is where the show matches the intro, and then I was just hooked from there on. But yeah, that's the reason why I suggested it to you. It's like, once I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, yeah, on board.
Yeah, I love the way they kind of melded together the kind of the old and the new, in a sense that for those who don't know, where the story is off in the future, but because of the devastation that the Earth has undergone, technology has kind of regressed somewhat, so it's a bit more basic. And the threat of the Titans themselves, so basically it said, I'm going to spoil this if you haven't seen it, but they're giant humanoid kind of beings that basically they arrived, I think it's from a meteor, is that right, Alvin? They landed from a meteor or something like that
You know what?
to Earth, and then came out from there and then spread.
I might have missed that because I don't remember seeing anything about that, but I might have to watch it again.
Yeah,
all
you
I
know
know
what?
is
You know why?
2000.
You know what? It's because you're watching Ben 10. It's because you're watching Ben 10. That's how you missed it.
Yeah, the bit where Eren gets this watch and he can turn into like 10 different aliens. That's Attack on Titan.
But yeah, I think that's what it is, because I haven't actually watched it again in quite a while, so I can't remember. But basically, yeah, they're up against this threat of these Titans, and yeah, what you said is right. For the first couple of episodes, it doesn't quite match the introduction, because the introduction is really kind of selling the action of the humans again when they fight back against these Titans. So you have to wait a little bit to get into that. But once that happens, The action is really jaw-dropping, like the way it's been filmed, and the way that characters all kind of have their own unique style and their own unique way of. I mean, that's a very traditional thing for Japanese animation anyway, but they've kind of brought that back and back into prominence with Attack on Titan, really. And again, it's one of those that appealed to me because it tackled a lot of big themes as well about kind of again kind of humanity's place within the world and understanding where we kind of stand against Mother Nature, and how we kind of exist. And then there's a little bit of kind of politics and subterfuge thrown in, and a little bit of intrigue. But it's a really, really good story. Like, it's a solid story across, like, I think it's like, what, 14 episodes or something like that, or 15 episodes. But it's a tight, solid story told across that. So I really, really enjoyed that. That was really good. And Psycho Pass, again, because it kind of deals with similar themes. Often, I think you find with animation, with anime, they deal a lot with the sense of identity and the sense of where we've come from, and who are we now, and how do we fit into this world that we exist in. But because it's Psycho Pass is a lot more contemporary in the sense of the stylings and the kind of world that they create through the animation. It's easier to kind of, I guess, identify with that world. But also because I'm a sucker for old school kind of film noir movies where you had kind of like a grey kind of sky, and everything was always kind of dour and a little bit downbeat, and everybody had a kind of sardonic sense of humor, and the hero was some chain smoking like anti-hero who was maybe a good guy, maybe he isn't, don't really know until the end, and all of that kind of thing really appealed to me as well. So yeah, Psycho Pass is definitely one for me. Richard, have you obviously recommended Psycho Pass too? So what were the things that stood out about when you saw it?
It was literally everything you just said. I mean, to tell the truth, I actually completely forgot about that. But it was, I mean, after some of the like I said, we're going to touch upon some of the other anime that that really makes us happy. But the thing about Psycho Pass is that it was the first anime that I had watched in a very, very long time, and it was literally only because that the main character reminded me somewhat of Spike from Bebop, and that was the only reason. I said, okay, it was like a late night, and I was like, let me give it a go, and I generally was impressed, and then I did a bit of research in it after watching the first episode, and it was like, wow, this is really, really good. But like you said, it's that same thing of like that Japanese animation does, where each character is a character. They don't have the same generic voice, and it makes you invested not in just the story, but in people that are driving the story. That's what I loved about it. It was just like when people get killed, or it's almost like the main character and like the female in it, like you want them to get together. And the other thing as well is that I found really, really fascinating is that the first episode literally threw you in the deep end. That's what caught my attention. It was which is something that you don't usually get these days, where they might just draw something out. But the first episode was just a bit effed up.
The smart thing about
this is something different.
The smart thing about that though is that what's she called, the main female, Ikane, innit?
Yeah.
You get thrown in. You get thrown in the same way she does, because she's a rookie in it. And then there's that situation going on. She gets thrown in, and you're thrown in. Everything she's been told, like obviously she's had some training and that, but she's being told how things done. There's inspectors, there's enforcers. Everyone's got a dominator and all that. You're getting all this information, and it's all brand new in it. So that's what's so great about it, because it doesn't treat you like an idiot. It just goes, look, here's everything you need to know. You're smart enough. You can figure it out as we go along. If you're not. And by the end of the episode, you're completely on board.
Well, you know what it is as well. Like even you just saying that, you're bringing back that whole memory, because you might have, like you said, because we get thrown in with her as a rookie, you're kind of like, well, what is this? You're waiting for that big macho guy to appear on screen. So when the guy who does, I can't remember names. So when the guy that turns up, who looks like Spike, gets taken out at the end of this episode, you kind of get thrown off, because you're like, well, this is the type of have an animation or story where the main lead would be like, a Mickey Spillane, Mike Hammer type of character, and he's just been taken up by the rookie female who's actually made the right choice, and you're like, okay, this isn't just going to be a run-of-the-mill action type of thing. This is going to make me think. I'm going to have to pick sides here. So yeah, so that's another thing I remember of the running theme throughout Psycho Pass, where it was like, there was no wrong or right answer. It kind of to me, well, it was kind of like the whole Minority Report thing about, like, if this person's going to commit this crime, they're going to be incarcerated before they commit the crime because of precogs and things like that. And it's like, yeah, well, is the right way, is there a wrong way? Logically, it makes sense, but then it harks back down to the thing of, like, of the human spirit and the individual. And so, like, when they bring in the main villain, and how so wickedly immoral he is, like, you're just like, okay, cool, this is good. But I'm actually going to go revisit that because I never saw the second season.
Don't watch the second season. Don't bother watching
I was
it.
just about to say that the second season has apparently just been released, and from what a lot of the fans are saying, it's not great. So
it's not up to scratch at all. The reason why is because it got passed on to a different production company while the main production company was doing the film. So that's why that happened. And so, like, the writers that they got on board, it's almost like the writers kind of knew-ish what was going on, what the story is, like the Sybil system and all that, but didn't quite know it intricately enough to properly tell a good story. And so it kind of seems like a repeat of things you've seen in the first series, but it is a bit of a letdown, I'm not even going to lie. But I heard the good things about the film, though, so that's a plus.
Oh, yeah, I remember they released the film. I remember they released, I think, a little manga as well. And I think the manga side story of what happens to, like, the guy that disappears at the end of the first season, the anti-hero cop. And I think it's just kind of like them chasing him, and that was meant to be good as well. But okay, so season, but watch the film. All right, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to check out the movie as well, because I didn't even realize there was a movie. So yeah, I
completely forgot.
I think Funimation has the license, so I'm not even sure if it should come here because hasn't season 1 come out on DVD in the UK? So at some point,
I believe it is. Yeah,
it's been out.
I'm
it's
sure
been
it's
out for a little while.
DVD
The Psycho Pass has been out for some time. That's the thing.
Okay.
So I think it's just one of those things. You know what it is? I think that there was a period when, like, there was just anime just coming out, and there was no one thing just dominating anything, and that's what I loved when I started getting back into anime a couple of years ago. It was like there's all this, but then like I mean, I haven't seen Attack on Titan, and one of the reasons because I'm a bit stubborn is, like, because everybody's watching it, I'm like, I don't want to jump on a bandwagon, even though I know that you guys have told me that it's good and everything. But now it's become that whole thing again where you just get that one piece of animation that just dominates the whole market. And just, everywhere you go, it's just that one thing. So I kind of, like, took a step back, somewhat, so to speak, and missed a couple of things that might have been around. But yeah, that's what happened with me and Psycho Pass for second season, and the film and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So was there any others that you have seen recently that are kind of standing out to you that
For
you
me,
could recommend to me?
I'd obviously we're gonna have to, like, bring up One Punch Man.
Oh yeah.
Saitama.
I still haven't seen that yet.
Mate,
I still haven't seen it.
It's just so funny. It is just like it's just so it's not over the top. Well, it is over the top, but it's not like in your face over the top. Saitama is quite a simple guy. Like, he doesn't get things, but like he comes alive when he's fighting, even though he beats everyone in one punch. And it is just kind of like the same running gag, but it's just even watching it in Japanese, it's just so well written, and if you've got the right sense of humor for it, which I think you guys would have, then you'll like One Punch Man, definitely like it.
Okay. Yeah, One Punch Man is definitely one that's on my list, so I'm gonna have to look out for that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mine as well. You know what? And you bringing up One Punch Man, you know what? It has made me realize. You know what I do miss about Japanese animation? Like I said, the days of when it was just fun. Just like like you're bringing up like One Punch Man. It's got that running gag of, like, okay, you can just defeat people in one punch. Hey, how do you get your words? Okay, sit-ups and, like, push-ups, like 1,000 a day or like that, something.
Yeah.
But it's just a funny joke, like. But you know what I do miss? Like cartoons like bloody Ranma. You remember Ranma? and a half.
Vaguely.
The boy the boy I think it's the boy who gets cursed. So every time he touches warm water or hot water, he changes into a girl, and there's this running curse
Oh
throughout the
yeah,
whole.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then they had an uncle that could change into a panda and stuff like that. Like that was funny. Even down to the animation, it even reminded me a bit of like Dragon Ball. Like, you know when Dragon Ball first came out, it was like nice and bright and it was colorful. And even though it was violent, it was still quite kiddish. I miss Japanese animation like that. I miss the innocence somewhat, man. Now some of it is just a bit too dark, man. It just like shit. I mean, it makes
I
me feel like
think
Linus. I feel like I got that cloud above my head and I'm playing the piano.
I think what I miss really is accessibility, in the sense that I find that with a lot of
Hello?
the
Huh?
world building that,
Oh,
that
you
goes
disappeared
on
for a
with.
sec there, I think.
Oh,
Or
did
was
we
it
lose
Yeah,
you?
me?
sorry, man. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, okay, cool. No worries.
Sorry?
No, I was just saying
Yeah, I'm
that
back. I'm
I
back.
miss accessibility, in a sense that
Mm.
there's so much world building that goes on with some of these animes now, because they're so entrenched within this world that they've created, that it's
Mm.
hard for you to get into it if you haven't been there from day one, from episode one. So one of
Yeah.
the good things about Netflix getting anime now is that you can kind of
Mm.
binge watch things, and watch it all at once to get in there, because I kind of miss that. I miss the sense that you could just pick up the story at any point and get into it. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the stories that are out now, like I watched, what was it recently, Kill the Kill,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was okay, but I just found it really kind of overly complex, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
like the whole explaining of like what was it that like it gets powered by human blood and all this business and all that
Mm,
kind of stuff.
mm,
Yeah, it was
mm.
kind of
And another
I
one,
still enjoyed it.
yeah, another one was Tokyo Ghoul as well. That was another one. I just really couldn't get into it because it was so dense, and because they didn't it didn't feel like they kind of started with a simple thing and then built from there. It was kind of like they plunged you headfirst into the world, which works sometimes, if the story is simple enough for people to follow. But when it starts to become a bit complicated and there's various different levels and layers to this, it's a bit hard to kind of pick it all up. One of the animes going back a few years that I did like, that does get a little bit complicated in terms of its plotting, but never in a way that you feel lost, is Death Note. Death Note, at its core, always had a very simple story, and it's a very, very simple morality tale, which is, if a man had the power of God and had the power to decide who lives or dies, um, what would a man do in that situation? What would they do? Um, there are, specific concepts that it tackles that are uniquely Japanese and unique to kind of their understanding of mysticism and spirituality and all of those kind of things. Always that remains the one constant thread that runs through it. So even though they go to some quite complicated places, you can still follow what the overall story is and what the overall aims are. So Death Note is one that from a few years back that I always love and probably always will love. I avoided the movies like the plague because generally, like, I find that when they try and adapt anime into movies, it's just not
Yeah,
it's
it
not a
doesn't.
good look.
No, it's not.
But it just never really seems to translate at all. But the anime series is really, really good, if you haven't seen it.
No, I've not seen it.
So
I need
that
to,
was
that's
definitely one.
it's something that's been on my list for a while, but again, just not got around to it and that. But yeah,
Mm,
uh,
mm, mm.
I'd add another one. Well, I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but Kazhern Sins. That is
No,
that's
don't know that.
like it has a really cutesy art style, but it's a show that's just about death and accepting like mortality, that you're mortal and that one day you'll die. Because like what happens is there's this disease that only affects robots, and it
Right.
causes them to rust. But like because now robots can die, they kind of have to deal with kind of the fact that they may not live forever and that at any moment they'll just begin to rust and then after X amount of time die. But yeah, the whole show is about fucking death, which was really
Mm.
fucking weird because I just was not expecting it. I thought it was just going to be straight up action, and there is some wicked out over the top action in it. But yeah, the whole thing is just like death, 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 death.
What's
Mm.
this?
Pretty
Sorry, I was.
Kaz Hearn Sins.
Oh, Cashin. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I never peeped. I remember the cartoon from like the 70s.
Yeah, this is the
I
newer
remember
one
actually
from
getting
like
like,
2000 and something. I can't remember what year though.
is that the one where he had like the pet dog,
Wait, didn't you have a pet
robot
dog in the
dog?
old
Yeah.
one as well?
No, but do you have one in the old? I can't remember 100%. But I just remember watching it when I was like being young. I think, and then I remember like seeing it again years later because I picked up like a little plushy doll, which I
Hmm.
gave to my mum, and my mum used to keep it on her desk, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah, he had a
oh,
robot dog
okay,
in
yeah,
Kaz and Sins as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of it.
okay,
The last time I saw it, yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I don't think he was in it a lot though, and he didn't turn into a spaceship or anything like that.
okay.
So yeah,
Okay, yeah, I'll have a look for that one then. That does sound interesting. So
he is proper
I'll give that
morbid.
one a look. Yeah, well, that's another thing. I mean, they've never been afraid to tackle the difficult subjects
Mm.
with Japanese anime. They never have. Like they always go for the heavy stuff. I mean, I still remember the first time I saw Perfect Blue, which is like one of the best kind of psycho dramas I've ever seen in any format, whether that be film or animation.
Yeah.
And they were not afraid to go there in terms of, the kind of psychological and emotional terror and that people can experience when they're stuck in a situation where they're being stalked by somebody obsessive. So the Japanese definitely ain't afraid of tackling the big things, the big subjects in their animation. So that's something that comes with the territory. So yeah, this one that you've recommended sounds like it's right up my street. So I'll have a look for that as well. But we've only got about 6 minutes left, guys. So let's kind of wrap this thing up quickly. So to do that, we were talking earlier about how we kind of watched our animes and how we kind of accessed them and things like that. And I was talking about the VHS, and you were talking about Blu-rays, Rich. One thing that we did used to have in the UK that is kind of lagging badly was we used to have the Sci-Fi Channel broadcasting on cable and Sky, and it always used to show Japanese animation series. Lately, sci-fi is not looking like the sci-fi that we all knew. And as a result, it seems like it's difficult to kind of get hold of anime unless you go to a specialist retailer, whether that be online or at a convention, or if you have a Netflix account and you can get whatever it is that Netflix get the rights to, then you can kind of watch it there. Why is it so hard to get hold of anime? I know, Alvin, you were saying you
Yeah.
think you had a few thoughts on that, but why is it so difficult, especially in this day and age,
You know,
to access these things?
it's weird because like I constantly see online that Funimation are licensing this, that, and the other in the US, and I think Australia have it all right as well. But for some reason, it's just
Yeah.
like dead here, and it's mad because that there are a lot of anime fans out there. Like anime is it's popular as ever. You can see it at conventions and stuff like that. There's entire kind of like sections of the geek community that are all about like cosplaying anime characters and stuff. So I have no idea as to why no TV channel has really picked up on it in order to show any. I mean, I think there've been attempts like Anime Network and stuff on Sky, but for some reason that didn't work out. But I doubt it'd be that hard for anyone at Sci-Fi Channel to go, you know what, let's just do a 2-hour anime block, 8 until 10, Friday night, and possibly repeat said episodes throughout the week until they show the next episodes. I have no idea why they do that don't do that instead of showing these B movies, because it's just like, I just don't get it. It's like, streaming's cool, like Crunchyroll as well. You've got Funimation now as well, which has recently launched, but TV needs to step up its game, because it's just like, come on, we need to try before you buy. That's another thing as well. It's like, I might see a DVD that I like the cover of, or Blu-ray or whatever, but I want to know what I'm buying before I buy it. We have to rely a lot on word of mouth in the UK. Definitely a lot of word of mouth you have to rely on.
Yeah.
But I don't know as to what they're playing at, really.
You know what I think it is as well. I think that like networks are generally still scared to show like Japanese animation. I think that's what it is. Like I remember like having access to Sky, and the only animation or Japanese animation that I would be able to watch would be on Channel 4. And that's when they did like I think they you remember like, so they, like Legend of the Friday night, and like so they'd show that. Or if you watched Akira, you'd literally get you get two choices of what you could watch Akira on: Channel 4 or BBC 2, because Akira is considered a film. Yeah. So I generally think it's just the whole thing of that, like networks are still, because even though like anime has a large following, but when you look at the type of subjects that it touches upon, you've got all different types, and I think it's still slightly reeling from the backlash that it received when it became, when the manga company came to the UK, and like and I don't know if you remember when this whole thing of trying to shut manga down, because they were releasing these cartoons that they said they were corrupting our minds and things like that. So it could be so if you think about it, there's still a lot of old boys that were running corporations back there that are still running it now, so they still might get the final say and say, well, listen, I don't think this is what people should be watching and stuff like that. So that might be playing a part in it, but to me, like, in the whole of anime still feels is only slightly better now than what it was, like you said, like 20 years ago. Like when you had to wait when it was like a 12-part series, and you had to wait every month for the VHS to come out so you could find out what happens next. It's the same thing. Up to you have, let's say, like Netflix or anything, but then like you said, Australia will have certain rights to certain things, then Japan will have certain rights to certain things, and then the next thing you know, you're getting the same cartoon retold and rejigged in 5 different ways, with like scenes taken from other animes thrown in there, like Gundam and Macross and Battle for the Planets and G-Force. So I think it's just one of those things where, like, I think it comes down to money, and it comes down to like networks just saying, well, listen, man, I don't think it's worth the headache, and I'm not sure if like this would be suitable. Yeah, they haven't, yeah. So, Jason, quick question. So you said we've got 6 minutes left. Is it like a timer thing? Does it blow up, or have we just limited ourselves to?
Well, no, we're limiting ourselves to an hour. So we've been going for almost an hour now. In fact, we've got about a minute left.
Okay. Because I wouldn't mind just trying to finish off the rest of the questions. I'm just putting it out there. Alvin, what are you saying?
I don't mind if you've got more time. I don't mind at all.
We've kind of covered them, really, to be honest, in the last, pretty much.
Okay.
There's only 4 questions that I put down. And yeah, we've pretty much covered it. There wasn't anything that was missing, really. So
only 4 questions. Wow.
Yeah.
Remind me to let you do my tests for me, man.
Yeah, well, 4 was all we needed, and we took over after that. So as I was hoping. So yeah, it's gone well. It's gone well. But yeah, in terms of the accessibility in the UK, it's really bad. I mean, like, as you said, Richard, you made an excellent point. It's really not moved on in the last 20 years, not in any kind of meaningful way. I mean, with the advancement of sort of streaming technologies and things like that, and the way that they're available to us, you would think that would open up much more of a library of possible animes that we can access, but it just doesn't seem to happen. And it seems, as you said, that maybe the people at the top are afraid of taking risks, because it doesn't seem like the popularity is suffering at all in the UK. Far from it. I mean, every time we go to MCM Comic Con, as and as Alvin mentioned, at various other Comic Cons, people are always keen to cosplay their favorite anime characters. So it doesn't seem like anime is suffering in terms of popularity. It just seems like there's some kind of a block there. I don't know whether it's a legal issue or whatever, but it's a little bit disappointing we can't access all of the things that we want when we want, really. But hopefully, with, as I said, technology is improving all the time. Crunchyroll is there, and Funimation do their own kind of streaming thing. Maybe somebody else will spot the gaps in the market and deliver something for us in the UK so we can kind of enjoy stuff the way everybody else does. That would be nice. Whether we'll get there or not, I don't know. But, there you go. We'll see. All right. Well, guys, thanks a lot, man, for taking part in this. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, this is just our first ever podcast of this type. So if you're watching this, whenever you do start watching it, I hope you enjoyed it. We hope we've given you a sense of how we like to kind of discuss movies and things like that. There's a lot more from us to come. So please do subscribe to our channel if you're interested in the kind of things that we're interested in. And gents, do you want to quickly sign out and give a holler to your social medias or anything you want to plug?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Big A the Man Geek. You can catch me on Twitter if you want. My handle is at BigA85GL.
There you go. Nice and simple. Richard?
Okay, yeah. Instagram, Rich Reviews. Instagram, Wulong Talks. Website, www.wulongtalks.com. And Rich Reviews on Twitter, but don't bother going there because I don't know how to use it yet. So maybe by the time the next podcast comes around, then I'll probably I'll give it a proper shout out. But yeah, that's me.
Okay, wicked. Well, yeah, I said hopefully by the time the next podcast comes around, Richard wouldn't know how to use Twitter, and then we'll be able to interact with you. But in the meantime, we do have a presence on Twitter as well. We're at Wulong Talks on Twitter. So if you do use Twitter and you want to give me a shout and say, oh, yeah, that video you did was shit, or whatever, I don't mind. I'm game. I'm an easygoing kind of guy, as you can see. So you can holler at me on Twitter. That's all good. And as Richard rightly pointed out as well, we've got a blog going, which is www.wulongtalks.com. I'll post up a link in the description for this video as well. So if you want to take a visit over there and see what we've got, then please, by all means, do. And leave a comment and feel free to share it with your friends too. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Hopefully, we will see you again next week. We'll be discussing some more fun topics around the kind of things that we love, comics, movies. Guys, we haven't even touched on Civil War yet. We need to have a discussion about Civil War.
Let that be the next one. That's got to be the next one.
Yeah, we've got Batman.
Now we're just telling it to kids. Now we're just telling it to kids.
We've got X-Men to touch on as well. That's out this weekend.
Tomorrow.
So yeah, it's out tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, we'll do a big discussion on that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. How about this? How about this? We know what we're going to talk about, but to everyone that's listened here, any comments that you've got, throw down what would you like us to talk about? Throw down some comments, some questions to us, and what the next thing that you'd like to to see discussed or to be educated about, because we're all of a certain age, so we're from that period anyway. We're fossils. So yeah, so give us some feedback, and then at least then we can we can meet halfway, because remember, this is, as DC say, this is for the fans. So that's just an idea that I'd like to throw out there.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, Richard. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, if you do have anything that you want us to talk about, please do add it in the comments. We're open to any kind of suggestions that people have. Well, within reason, folks. Like, let's be honest, we're not gonna reenact your favorite threesome scenes or anything like that. But anything that you think we should be discussing, by all means, pop it in the comments box, and we'll deal with that. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to say goodnight because my belly's rumbles. You haven't heard it on the camera yet. So hopefully I will see you all next week. Say bye-bye, Alf.
See you later, dudes.
Richie, say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, is he gone already?
Hey, no, I'm still there, man.
Oh, I said say goodbye.
I said bye-bye. Bloody hell, man. Run out Morecambe and Wise, man. Come on, man.
Which one's Walker? Which one's Wise though?
I'm the short one, innit?
So that means I die early then, yeah? All right. Good night, people. Thanks a lot for watching us. Take care.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Cool. All right. Catch